So then to really get started on this session, I am looking at assignment 5.1, mobile web this page design. Although this was going to be the 5.2 video, I really would like to start with assignment 5.1 since 5.2 refers directly back to it. 5.1 is just something that I think we had already done in class before, which is what is a mobile ready website. And by that I mean, what is something that you can see on a device, like it's shown in the graphic here. I'll slide down to get one thing in particular, and that is that whatever canvas you're going to be using, whatever size of image you're going to be ending up with, should be at least 1024 by 768. And a good guide is to, well, if you have a minimum that you have to meet, is to stick to that size. So it'll be at least that size. 1024 by 768 is a pretty standard size. In the assignment, there is a link to Photopea. And although other people say Photopea or Photopea, the owner says it's Photopea, and that's fine. I'll click on that link. It takes me to the website. Photopea is, it looks just like Photoshop used to look a few years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. It's got pretty much the same tools, but it's free. And it's free because, and I think in a little bit you're going to see that there's going to be advertising on the side. You could pay to get rid of the advertising, but you know, we only need it for a few things. If you're going to be an avid user of Photopea and you want to support them, that's up to you. For this class, I never ask my students to spend any extra money. So I said, okay, so what do you do once you get to Photopea? If you're familiar at all with Photoshop, it should be very familiar. Let me go back to the numbers, 1024 by 768. Just like you would in Photoshop, you can use the menu on top to say File and create a new document. They do have buttons that you can click right in the middle. Open from computer if you have one saved. You can use some templates that they have. For this one in particular, I would like you to start with a blank file. So I'll click on New, which is the same as New Project. And I hope it gets started. And let me double check on something. Popping up, it means I paused. Okay, so now that I think I fixed the issue, I'm going to reload the Photopea page. And it's loading. I don't see any ads, so I might have to restart. Let me see, File, New. Oh, there it is, New Project. Okay, so like I said, they do have some templates, and although you can use them later, for this application in particular, it's just sample something that I want you to do on your own. So let's just start with a brand new project. I'm going to call this something very generic, and it's going to be called My Week 5 App. And the size, it's going to have to be at least the size of that it's listed in the assignment. It's 1024 by 768. So I would stick to that, 1024 by 768. And 72 dpi, dots per inch, is fine. The background white, yes, so that we don't get lost. And I'll create, and that gets us started. Now, although it's 1024 by 768, I'm pressing Control minus. Oh, that's a square. 1024 by 768. Your electronic canvas should have at least 1024 by 768. And you know, that's a horizontal size. So this is not for a mobile device. This is for a website. So let's not do that. And I'm going to have to change that to correct sizing. So I'm going to close that. And I'm going to click on New Project. And you have the options, and I think I talk about this in another video. We're going to click on Mobile so that we can have these sizes show up. And rather than that horizontal one that we were looking at, let's see if there's something that's a little bit more familiar. Most everybody uses most of the world uses Android devices. I use an iPhone myself. An iPhone X is, I think, fairly close to another Android size. But yeah, these sizes, yeah, the width is not, it's 1125 by 2436. So it's going to be a tall document. I will click on that and create. And it's blank. And that's good. So now this looks more like a mobile phone. And we have very similar tools and ways to use Photopea as we do in Photoshop. Actually, if you took, I don't think that any of you all took my Photoshop class last semester when the pandemic hit, because I think that was Roosevelt. But we switched from Photoshop to Photopea. Background is the white that we got, and that's just so that we can see what's going on. Anything that you want to create on Photoshop and Photopea should be happening in a new layer. New layers, basically, imagine that you put a transparency on top. If you put some cellophane that you can draw on top, imagine that is what a layer does. To create a new layer, there's a tool on the bottom right that looks like a new page document. You click on that and you get a new layer. That's just called layer 1. In this layer 1, if we follow what the assignment says, and I'll have to come back to say that this should be something else, we're going to sort of make a mobile-friendly page for Dallas College eConnect. I'll click on that to take a look at it. And the way to even figure out what this would look like if it were a friendly site, because Dallas College has been around for a while, they already have a mobile-friendly site. This is it. It's horizontal. But if I'm going to take it off so that I have it separately on the window. I'm going to make it narrower. And since it's already preset, it's going to start to look more like a mobile device. And now, it doesn't mean that this is the most mobile-friendly design, but it will work okay on a phone because everything's kind of scrunched in. You see the logo, eConnect, you see some instructions, and then you see a whole bunch of buttons that take you places. And that's what we want to do with Photopea. So I'll just make this a little bit smaller too. You know, I didn't get any ads, and that's good. And I just want to see this. I want to see both of my screens. Okay, so I know that I'm going to have a logo. So do I need you to get the real logo and put it there? Not really, because this is just a sample. So we're going to be drawing boxes that represent things. And to draw a box in Photopea, just like in Photoshop, an easy option is either to click on Rectangle Select, and that makes a selection that you can fill. Or there is a tool down here that looks like a rectangle, and it's called Rectangle. If you click and hold, you'll notice that there's also ellipse that will allow you to do ellipse shapes and circles, lines, etc. I want the rectangle. That's good enough. And I know that I have a logo on top, and then it says eConnect. So I will.
I'm reminding you. Take Phoenix out to the backyard.
That's my Alexa telling me that I have to take out my dog.
I'm reminding you.
For a walk.
Take Phoenix out to the backyard.
So, okay. I have a square, and this square is red. If you want to stick with blue because, you know, that's the colors of the college, you can change it as you're drawing it. The fill is currently red. I'll click on that, and I'll go to blue. And it should take it. Just accept it, okay? Okay, so now I have this sort of blue. It looks almost black. And I know that I'm going to have the word eConnect next to it. I'll come back to put in that, but this is going to be my logo. I want to make a copy of this square, and basically my layer 1, if I right click on it, I can say duplicate layer, it makes a copy. So I have a layer 1 copy. Layer 1 copy, like I said, these are floating images. They're on top of each other. Like if you had it on cellophane, if you had it on a transparent sheet, you can move it around. So I can move that layer, which is the copy. And I know that this one's active because it's a little bit darker color than the others. And I'll bring it down to where I know the other buttons are going to be. And there's orange, and there's red, and yellow, etc. But this one, if I'm on layer 1 copy, I can double click there, and I'm going to call this button. Enter. And click on transform controls. On Photoshop, it's something else, but I'm not going to confuse the subject too much. Basically, the transform controls, these anchors appear, and I can drag them to the right side, or just make them wider. So now that's wide, and I can, as long as layer 1 is selected, okay, I'm going to turn off the transform colors and click on that, and I'm going to make another copy of that button. Well, not another one, the first one. It's really a copy of the square. I'll right click on the button and tell it to duplicate the layer, and I'll move it down. And then I can do the same thing over again, depending on how many buttons I need to end up with. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'll see about 7. I'll duplicate the layer, bring it down again by making a copy first. One more copy, duplicate layer. And I think that that's enough buttons for now, because I know that there's other stuff that I need to do to make that image. Now all of these are kind of cutting wampas on top of each other. If I click on the very top one, copy 4, which should be the bottom one, I'm going to press the shift key and click on button, and that selects all of them then. And there's a tool that you can use up here, which is this one right here. It's equal gaps. It'll spread it out equally. So now they're all kind of separate in the same way. We could change the colors, but right now I'm a little bit, because we had already done this before, I'm a little bit more concerned about just getting the image done. It's going to say eConnect on top. You can type that by using the text tool, the letter T, and just clicking somewhere where you want. It's going to load up the font, and I'm going to type in eConnect. It's very tiny, so I'm going to press Control A. That selects all the text, and it tells me that the size is currently 24 pixels. I can use this bar to make it larger. It looks like 96 is pretty big. I'm sure that 110 would be bigger. How about 130? And at least for me, that works. Once that is changed, I'm going to click on this top tool. It's the Move tool, and I can move the text to sort of look like it did on the page over here. There's additional text that you can either type completely or just give me some dummy text. And so we can do dummy text. It just text that means nothing, by clicking elsewhere using the text tool, which I have selected. And I'm going to say something class appropriate, something like, this is the text. I'm going to press Control A. That selects all the text, and I'm going to make this one smaller because that's what the page looks like. Not so small that you can't read it, but small enough that it fits, and it kind of looks like it would in an application. So I'd say that maybe 60 is the right number. That's not 60. How about 72? Okay, 72 looks acceptable for this image. And I'll just select this and copy and paste. And just one more. I'm giving it hard breaks there so that it sort of flows out. And at the very bottom, there's going to be additional links, resources, etc. Call us, and the social media. So at the very bottom, I'm just going to do one more little piece of text down here, and it's going to say something like Centro College. And that's fine. Like I said, this is just a concept of what the application would look like. So then, like I said, you can probably change the colors if you want to make it a little bit more friendly. Trying to see why. Oh, I moved something. Why is it that I can't select? It's an auto select. I'm going to try to change the button. If I double click it, can I then change it by clicking on the color? Yes. So I'll do that for that button. For this button, I'm double clicking inside of the image there. That selects the square, and then you can click on a color to change it. You learn something new every day. I'll use another one there. I mean, that could be your choice of colors, and then this last one, the top button, I'll change it as well. I'll leave one with that other one. Running out of time. Oh, I got 10 minutes left. That should be enough to finish this assignment. I need to get out of the application, come back in. Okay. What's I gonna make? Okay, if you run out of colors, you can select another one by changing the palette. I want to see if I can get like an orange type thing. Like, well, that's blue, that's green. Okay, that's fine. So that's enough colors there. If you want to add additional text to put on top of the buttons, that's fine. Just to sort of let me know what it is that they're supposed to be. I'm going to do one or two just to give you a sample. And let's see, I don't know why it's not letting me. Where's the green button? This is the green button. Oh yeah, so I have the text going on right there. And I'll just say button. And I'll select the text, Control A, selected the text, and I can change the color of the text to white by taking the color picker all the way to the top left. Or I can make it disappear. Oh, it made it green. I'll just click on the white box. Make sure that it's on top. I use the move tool. And then I have the text for button there. I don't know why I have this box over here. So, and you can do multiple text so that you have text on top of the buttons. Okay, so you're almost at this point, and you would almost be done with this assignment. You just gotta save two versions of it. I'm gonna file, and I'm gonna save as PSD. This is a Photoshop document, so it's gonna be multi-layered. I am currently in a Chromebook environment, so I'm gonna save it to my drive. And that's for another class. I'm going to go into my Artv 2470 folder, and it's called my week 5 app.psd. That's a Photoshop document. That's got all of the layers. So if I wanted to change it, this is the one that I would go and actually work with. Now the one that you're going to be needing on the 5.2 assignment is going to be a flattened image. So you have to click on File and Export as JPEG. You can do JPEG or PNG, PNG. And it sort of tells you what it's going to look like. On the side, it tells you how big it is, and that's fine. The quality is 70%. This is a small file, so you can say 100% if you want, and then save. And it's going to name it as whatever you already had it named as, and the extension is going to be .jpeg. So those two files you can turn in for a grade for 5.1. And I am running out of time with this recording. My dog needs to be taken out to be walked. So I'm going to take a 10-minute break, and I'll come back to continue with 5.2. Okay? I'm going to save this video before I go.